guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I've got a more summery Christmas look. It's a very subtle one, but I thought I would do something a little more subtle and also more season appropriate for those of you in the southern hemisphere. This is also a no foundation makeup look. So I've just used concealer and stuff today. I haven't used any foundation at all. I've been wanting to do a no foundation video for a while because I have been experimenting with not using foundation in the past year, like with work and stuff. I still usually use foundation if I'm gonna do a full face, but I thought I would give it a go just doing a full face without foundation because I think it's good to experiment with that type of thing. Let the natural skin show through a bit more, and it's also way better for your skin to do that rather than like layering on heaps of foundation. So yeah, I've got a no foundation, summery kind of subtle Christmas look. So if you'd like to see how I got this look, then just keep watching. So I'm just gonna start off by cleansing my face with my Mecca Cosmetica Clean Slate Micellar Water. This is probably like the second last time I can use it. I'm almost out of it. And then I'm not going to moisturize because it's hot, and moisturizing as well as using a hydrating primer, my skin gets way too oily and greasy, so I'm just going to go in with my Too Faced Hangover Primer. I mentioned before that I love using this in place of a moisturizer when my skin is more oily. It hydrates the skin nicely in preparation for makeup, and it just leaves like a nice base for makeup to go on top of. And also the smell. It smells so good. And I'm just going to go in with my Sukin Antioxidant Eye Cream as well. And one more primer. I'm going in with the NYX Angel Veil Primer. I'm just going to use this in the center of my face and my forehead, areas where I've got larger pores, as well as the areas where I've got a lot of acne and skin texture. And I'm just going to spray my face with my Mario Badescu Aloe Cucumber and Green Tea Facial Spray. Just again, because I didn't use a moisturizer, I only used the Hangover Primer. This just gives my skin a little bit more of a boost in hydration, not to the level that another moisturizer would give me. Alright, so this is a no foundation tutorial today. This is what I normally do for work. Sometimes I'll go in with my IT Cosmetics CC cream if my skin is particularly bad, or I'll just go in lightly with my NYX Mineral Stick Foundation. Both of those are just have a very natural finish, don't look too cakey. So if my skin is particularly bad and I've got enough time in the morning, then I'll go in with a light layer of either of those. But otherwise, I just use concealer. I'm just gonna start with my Born This Way concealer. This is in the shade Light. And I'm just gonna use this under my eyes. When I say under my eyes, I actually mean my entire eye area. I get very, very dark under eyes and eyelids. It's just a genetic thing. I've always had it. I'm just gonna bring a little bit of this between my brows where I get a lot of redness and a few breakouts. Even when I was like, I remember being like late primary school-ish, like when I was still getting like tons of sleep and everything and not stressed whatsoever, I had like kids in my class being like, why are you so tired? You look really tired. It's just because I have genetic dark eyes. I'm just gonna blend all that out with a beauty blender. I love the Too Faced Born This Way for around my eyes because I get really dry under eyes. The Too Faced Born This Way is hydrating enough that it doesn't look too cakey. And I didn't bring this too far down because when I do that, I get a lot of redness around my nose and like, you know, this area, you know, where you normally get sunburn. That area of my face is a little darker and a little bit red. So if I bring the concealer down like into the typical triangle that like highlights your face, you can tell there's like a noticeable difference. When I'm not doing foundation, I prefer using a concealer that is slightly darker than what my normal foundation shade would be, because I do have a lot of dark spots on my face, and if I use a concealer that is like my normal foundation shade, which would cancel all of that out, you can see a noticeable difference. So wearing a concealer that is just like a shade darker than my normal skin tone or the normal foundation tone I would choose helps blend in with the imperfections that are on my face and makes it a lot less noticeable. I'm just gonna do a light layer of this Born This Way concealer on my acne scarring. Most of this is just scarring, there's not too many blemishes at the moment. I'm just using this one first because it is, like, it's ever so slightly darker than my normal skin tone, but it's still pretty close to my skin tone. But the one I go in with afterwards is darker, like noticeably darker than my skin tone. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with my Kat Von D Lock-It Concealer, and I'm just going to use this to spot conceal my blemishes and acne scars. I get most of my acne now around my jawline, so I always make sure I lift my head up and get the ones that are just underneath my jawline, because that is noticeable if I forget to cover those. And just a couple that are on my forehead here. I'm not applying too much pressure because I don't want to move it around too much because I have spot concealed, so I want it to be pretty contained to that one area, and this also helps to keep the coverage, just to lightly bounce it, so it's just going to gently blend it out while still retaining most of the coverage and not moving it around too much. And today I'm going to cream contour just because I'm going to be using the Anastasia Stick Foundation, so it is going to add coverage like while I'm contouring, and like I said, I do get most of my acne around my jawline, but also I get a little bit around like my contour line, like the hollows of my cheekbones, so adding this is going to add a slight, like just slightly more coverage, while also like sculpting my face. It's not going to look as weird as it would if I just left it like this and then did like an intense contour with powders. It just looks a lot more natural. Add like the tiniest bit to my nose, not too much. I'm just going to blend all of that out with my beauty blender again. And I'm just going to set my entire face with my NYX HD setting powder. And I did already cream contour, so I'm not going to go in with a powder contour, but I am just going to go in with my Physicians Formula Super BB All-in-One Beauty Balm Bronzer and Blush. So I'm just going to go in with the bronzer and just bronze up my face a little bit. I'm just going to stick to the cheekbone area. I'm going to bring it like a little bit into the blush area, like on the apples of my cheeks. And I'm just like stippling it on rather than rubbing because, like I said, that's where a lot of my acne is, and if I rub, it can take away some of the coverage, especially seeing as I don't have foundation on, it's just concealer. So I'm just going to stipple that on. I'm also going to bring it onto my nose because, like I said, I do have a lot of redness there. It's a little bit darker than the rest of my face, so I want to kind of accentuate that like sun-kissed kind of look. And I'm also just going to use that to slightly contour my nose while I'm at it. I just add a little bit to my hairline as well. And then for highlight, I'm going to be using my Mary Luminizer by The Balm. This is just my go-to highlighter. I always use this for work. It just looks so, like, it's just a nice glossy highlight. It looks so natural. I mean, not natural, it's still a relatively intense highlight, but it's not too intense and it's not glittery in the slightest. For my brows, I'm going to be using my Anastasia Brow Wiz in the shade Taupe. I have found that the shade Taupe is the perfect color for my brows for when I want to fill them in, but I want my actual brow hairs to be visible still. So I want to just add a lot of like volume to my brows, make them look a lot thicker and fill in sparse areas, but I still want them to look like my brows. So I'm just really lightly going in the front area because I do have most of my volume here, so I don't need to fill in that area too much. It's just like filling in sparse patches. And then the tail end is where I'm really gonna go in with it because that's where I lack a lot of my brow hairs. So you can see a huge difference between my brows, but it still looks like my brow. It doesn't look like a Sharpie brow or anything like that. It doesn't even really look too much like an Instagram brow. It still looks quite natural. So this is the perfect shade for me. I've been using this for work all the time. And then I'm just going to set them with my Anastasia Brow Gel in Espresso. Alright, so I'm not going to prime my eyes because I did just bring the concealer onto my eyes when I did the rest of my face. I'm going to be using my Anastasia Subculture palette today, which like seems like a weird choice for like a really natural looking Christmas look, but I'm gonna go with it anyway. I'm going to start with the shade Dawn. Wow, could I sound any more Australian saying that word? And I'm just going to run this through my crease. I'm going to keep it relatively high on the lid. Just gonna make sure it's super blown out as well. Perfectly blended. And I'm just gonna focus a little bit of that on my outer corner as well. And after that, this is a really risky move because of how pigmented this palette is, but I'm going to mix Fudge and All Star with Dawn. I'm going to like tap in mostly to Dawn and then just ever so slightly tap into Fudge and All Star. I'm just gonna tap my brush off to get rid of any excess. I'm just going to really lightly run this through my crease. I'm like barely applying any pressure. Okay, yep, that's working exactly how I wanted it. I just wanted to add a little bit of depth into the crease and a little bit of red because, you know, Christmas. Okay, this time I just dipped into Fudge and All Star without dipping into Dawn, and it still worked exactly how I wanted it. And I'm just going back in with that really big fluffy brush that I used Dawn on to make sure everything is super seamless. Okay, I wasn't as careful on this eye, and it's a little more pigmented in the crease than I was hoping, but that's fine. I'll just really go in and blend that all out. Alright, and then I'm going to go into the shade Adorned. I'm just going to use my finger for this because I don't want it to be kind of messy. So I'm just going to get that on my finger and just place it on my lid. And then just going back in with that same really fluffy blending brush, just making sure everything's blended. And then I'm just going to go into Destiny. I'm just going to run this along the lower lash line. I just want to tie in a little bit of green into this look without it being, like, while it's still being really natural and wearable. That's the main reason I chose this palette, to be honest, is because I wanted that one specific green shade. I'm actually going to go into Untamed as well, just a little bit, because I want it to... It looks very neutral at the moment. It's almost like a grey rather than a green. So I just want to add a tiny bit more colour to that. And once again, just going in with that fluffy brush and blending it out. I'm just taking a tiny bit more of Fudge and All Star just in this outer corner, just because it looks kind of weird that the green just stops and the lid isn't as dark. So I'm just adding a tiny bit more of that just to that very outer corner, just so that it doesn't look quite as weird and disjointed. And because I'm not wearing falsies, I'm just going to curl my eyelashes because I want them to actually stand out. I'm gonna go in with my Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara because this is the best for making my lashes look very full and voluminous. Is that the word? I think so. And I'm just gonna go in with my Mary Luminizer and just add an inner corner highlight. Alright, and for the lips, I'm gonna go in with my Anastasia lip gloss in the shade Maple. I'm just going to like dab this onto the lips though. Well, actually I might apply it all over. This is meant to be like a summery Christmas look, so I think I'm gonna take this off. This is a pretty good lip option if you're in the Northern Hemisphere. That actually looks really cool. I kind of wanted to do a gloss because it's very summery and like, you know, hydrating and stuff, but I think I'm gonna go with a matte lip. This is Anastasia Beverly Hills Hudson. This is one of the ones from the mini set from the Christmas releases. I really love this lip color. It reminds me of like what Anastasia's Ashton looks like on most people, especially like medium to like slightly darker skin tones. But Ashton on me looks bright orange, so I really love this. It's just like a nice, really warm nude. So yeah, that's the finished look. I hope you guys enjoyed something a little more natural and appropriate for summer, for those of you who are celebrating Christmas in summer. As usual, if you did like this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you're thinking of the Christmas video so far in the comments down below, and if this is your first time joining me, don't forget to subscribe if you'd like to see more of my videos. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.